a dig in the dirt. Shovel, shovel, I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rake, and I'm ready to go.
G'day and welcome to the Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochran. We have got another sensational program for you today, packed full of brilliant gardening advice. A bit later on, I'm going to take you for a walk through this garden now. It's one of our Facebook friends and it is just sensational. Kim Sirius is back and he's got a brilliant water-saving sprinkler. Shirley from LA is going to give you some edible gardening tips, and look, the whole program is packed full of great advice. So let's not talk about it, let's get on with the show.
Digging around.
I wanted to say a huge thank you to all of our viewers for your support. You know, the Garden Gurus is a small team. We're all about creating programs that are full of innovation and great ideas, helping you have a beautiful garden. And I promise you, it's not hard to do. We've had so much feedback and our Facebook page and email has been red hot with friends sending us pictures of their great gardens. One friend, Celia, invited us over and the garden looks so good, I thought, why not? Well, Celia, thanks for showing us around your garden. How long have you been here?
7 years now, yeah.
Is it hard to garden in a sandy soil like this?
Well, I actually think it's easier than, say, having a really heavy clay soil.
Yeah.
Because so long as you do your preparation, the mulching and put your fertiliser and then put your water on, I think you get quite a good control.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Now, your garden's an interesting mix of exotic plants and natives. You seem to have the best of both worlds.
Yes, when we arrived, there was sort of lots of seagrass trees, and they were still here, along with a few Banksias and parrot bush. And I just sort of wove the garden in between them.
You've got a lot of features here, a beautiful pond area and that beautiful deck and platform area that you've got to look over it. Who was behind that idea?
Frank, my husband, he'd got this little orange tractor, and the tractor went for a couple of days, and I looked out the window from the kitchen and I could see this hole getting bigger and bigger. Anyway, so there was this huge hole and it went around with tributary, and it was all very creative.
Tell me, what's your favourite part of the garden?
Probably around the pond. Yes.
Just a nice place to get back and relax.
That's right, yeah.
Actually, you've got some lovely little spots. I noticed just behind us there's a great little day bed there. Is that an Indonesian style day bed?
It is, yes.
So do you get out here and read a book quietly?
Well, I must admit, I don't get much time for reading, but I sit down for half an hour and think, right, now I've got to go and do something.
That's what all us gardeners do, because we're looking at the next opportunity, things to do.
That's right. There's always something else to plant.
So, Celia, I noticed that you've got a number of very beautiful bougainvilleas located around the property. And I can see there's a big bougainvillea garden up the back. Would you mind taking us for a walk through a bit later on in the show?
Yes, I'd love to.
Blind or pop rivets are one of the neatest, strongest, most efficient ways of joining a whole range of materials together. Rivets are ideal for use on things like metal fences, garden sheds and corrugated roofs, anywhere a tight and permanent joint is needed. But if you've ever used a riveting tool, you'll know that they can be a bit of hard work. Well, not anymore. Here's an ingenious new device that takes all the hard work out of pop riveting. It's the Azito Riv Drill riveting attachment. Now, you don't use it on its own. It has drill in its name for a good reason. You fit it into the chuck of your power drill just like you would any other attachment or bit. You can use it with your cordless or corded drill. And it couldn't be simpler to use. Drill your hole, slip the rivet into the nose of the Riv Drill, push the rivet into the hole until it's flush, and then run your drill on low speed until you hear. Then just gently run the drill on reverse to eject the snapped mandrel. How quick and easy was that? Just as with a traditional rivet tool, you need to use different sized nose pieces to suit your different rivets. The Riv Drill comes with 3 noses for the most common rivet sizes, 3.2, 4 and 4.8 millimetres. And changing the nose is as simple as screwing one out and putting the next one in. Good as new. You know, I reckon if you've got any riveting jobs around the house you've been putting off, you just ran out of excuses. I think you could quite start to enjoy this as well. The Azito Riv Drill comes with a 1-year replacement warranty and you'll find it at your local Bunnings hardware store.
When we return, another sensational new plant you're going to find at your local garden centre this spring.
The best lawn in the street really gets down to quality maintenance.
How would you like to have the latest cutting-edge technology as close as your garage? Well, check this out for your chance to win one of 2 fabulous Azito 36-volt lithium-ion lawnmowers. This rechargeable 36-volt lawnmower is a zero-emissions masterpiece and no dealing with adding oil and petrol. With a generous 370mm cutting width, you'll breeze through lawns of up to 400 square metres on a single charge. How's that for gutsy? This is your chance to own one of the flashiest mowers on the street. Just visit our webpage and tell us in 25 words or less why your lawn deserves the brilliant new Azito 36-volt lawnmower.
This time of the year is a special time in the garden. There are some gorgeous fragrant plants, and here are 4 of my favourites. This is a new release hybrid magnolia. It's 12 months since I planted these blush fairy magnolias. They are gently fragrant and the perfume is most noticeable in the morning and late evening. The flower production is incredible, with thousands of blooms produced in spring and summer, and the new cream flower is about to be released. This is the Daphne Eternal Fragrance, a very hardy shrub that produces strongly fragrant clusters of waxy star-shaped flowers atop this deep green foliage. Whilst these 2 may have star power, I've got another couple of shrubs that are just must-haves if you want beautiful fragrance in your garden. Now, they're quite inconspicuous, but if you've ever grown osmanthus, you'll know what I mean. This is the one you want during springtime. It originates from the Yunnan region of China. Now, if you're going to plant Osmanthus delveyii, make sure you grab this one here too. This is Osmanthus fragrans, and this one will flower in spring, this one in summer, and I've got to tell you, if it's near an entertaining area or the front door of the house, the fragrance is incredible. Now, whilst the magnolias may be very easy to grow, and the Daphne, well, a lot better than the old Daphne odora to grow, these guys take a lot more work, but there is a secret to success. You're going to buy your Osmanthus in pots like this, and moving them from a pot to the ground is the real challenge. They do not tolerate stress or shock from transplant at all. So I always soak my plants for 5 minutes before planting in a bucket of seaweed solution. Now, you know that not all seaweeds are the same. The giant kelp that makes sea salt is rich in plant hormones and humates, improving the plant's strength and stimulating strong root growth. It's absolutely essential you invest in the soil with these plants. They cannot be allowed to dry out during summer, but make sure you settle them in with sea soil and then gently encourage growth so the plants establish solidly. But once they're growing, you really want them to grow strongly, and that's where power feed comes in. Now, this doesn't just give it a nice, gentle feed on a regular basis, absorbed through the foliage and the roots. It actually helps the plant improve its overall general health. It even improves the health of the soil. Now, have you got a gardening success at home that you'd like to show us? Well, simply visit our Facebook site, upload some photos, and you could be in the running to win one of several sea salt gardening packs. And you don't want to miss it. It's going to leave your garden shed looking fantastic, but your garden even better.
Well, we all have good intentions of carefully rolling up our garden hose and leaving them curled around the tap, don't we? Well, the reality is we're all busy and we often forget to do it, leaving a tangled and unsightly mess. Look familiar? I thought so. Not only that, this is a terrible trip hazard, an accident waiting to happen. Thankfully, there are better and safer ways of storing your garden hose.
Hose reels and carts are an ideal solution to hose storage, and there's one to suit every size yard. Not only do they keep the yard looking neat, they remove your hose from harm's way and prolong its life by keeping it out of the damaging summer sun. Pope has a great range of reels and carts. Their complete hose reel, made from aluminium and hard-wearing plastic, comes fully kitted with a quality 15-metre hose and all the connectors, plus a multi-function handgun. This model can be wall-mounted and it has this nifty angled hose connection, which I love because it stops the hose from kinking as it's being wound and restricting the water flow. Now that's clever. If you want to move your hose to other taps or water sources, then something transportable is needed, and Pope's complete hose cart is just the thing. Its large wheels allow ease of movement around the yard, and the Smart Guide, located just below the handle, carefully layers the 15 metres of garden hose and accessories supplied with this model. You know, home is where the cart is.
If you're sick of your hoses forever leaking, then go for ones like this. They're a crimped end hose. The connector's been factory sealed to the hose, so no leaks. If winding's not your thing, then go for one of these auto wind hose reels. They come in 10, 20 and 30 metre lengths and can be mounted securely onto a wall or fence, and they swivel up to 180 degrees.
The smooth rewind system means you can work your way through the garden, stopping and starting at your leisure without being dragged back to the unit. I did say there's a hose reel to suit any size yard, even small courtyards and balconies. This patio hose reel is compact, has a fold-away handle and 10 metres of hose. Plenty for a garden this size. With the fantastic range of Pope hose reels and carts available, there's no more excuses for that unsightly tangled mess by your tap anymore, right? Check them out at your local hardware store.
Now, my roses have needed a little bit of TLC through the spring period. The aphids have been pretty bad, so we've washed them off with the hose a few times. But I've got to tell you, this particular type of rose hasn't needed any attention at all. It's the world-famous flower carpet roses. Now, you can see there's no aphids on them, and even better than that, no disease. These really are stunning roses. They grow really strong this time of the year, and of course, come summertime, the flower show here is going to be spectacular. Coming up after the break, more great ideas from the Garden Gurus.
Have you checked out the latest Garden Guru magazine? It's a beauty. Jeanette Kennedy colours your garden pink using lavenders, including the beautiful new Princess Lavender, filled with colour, fragrance and grace. And there's loads of other great articles. And you can even win a Sproutwell greenhouse. Now, you can get your copy at all good newsagents or subscribe online at thegardengurus.tv.
All season I've been showing you power tools that help to make life in the garden easier. Well, how is this for a new take on the traditional line trimmer? There's no mixing of fuels, no messy spark plugs to be cleaned, and no lugging heavy equipment around. This is the Azito GTR 250 grass trimmer, and it's as fancy as it sounds. It's really lightweight. I'm talking 1.7 kilos. So this little baby is easy to use for long stints in the garden. This secondary handle gives you great control and balances the weight distribution for a clean finish and easy manoeuvrability. If you're still persisting with one of those old-fashioned line trimmers in the shed, you know, the ones that you had to mess around with to feed the line out, well, check this out. With this one, there is no line at all. In fact, all the hard work is done right here for you by these two durable cutting blades. When they wear down, it's just a simple case of out with the old and in with the new. No more wrestling with meters of nylon line. You've got to love that. It's important to remember when you're using a trimmer that it's the tip of the blade that does the work. So for the easiest, cleanest trim, don't push the head right into what you're trying to cut, and always wear safety gear. Eye protection is smart. It's the cutting width that speeds up a job, and with a generous 230mm cut, you'll be done and dusted in no time. And the benefit of a blade over a line is that you can trim your lawn as well as your edges. There's a couple of nifty safety features on this trimmer too. It's got a lock-off switch, so you can't accidentally start it. To get it going, you first have to press the button and then depress the trigger. And this is a cord retainer, so even if you stray too far, you won't get disconnected. How's this? You can get the Azito GTR 250 grass trimmer for less than a bunch of flowers. So there's no excuse for not keeping your garden looking tidy and trimmed all year round.
Take your edible plants out of the vegetable plot and plant them in your landscape. They'll add ornamental and practical value to your garden. And you won't have to sacrifice yard space to grow your food. This pomegranate tree serves as a focal point near the waterfall, especially when it's loaded with fruit, like it is now. Instead of a typical boxwood or privet hedge, plant a dwarf pomegranate as an edible hedge. Beautiful foliage, flowers, and fruit. This passion fruit vine is going to grow up to shade and decorate the patio with its exotic flower and delicious fruit. It's win-win. An espaliered Meyer lemon tree can be tucked against a fence. This little dynamo is a lemonade making machine. Explore your garden for unexpected spots to grow your edible plants. For instance, I'm growing the herb marjoram here in the crevices of the stacked stone wall. And I've replaced typical flowering annuals with these colorful chilies and herbs for a beautiful basket arrangement to decorate my garden. Remember to think outside the vegetable box.
Okay, we are back with our tree guru, Wes Fleming. Now, Wes, in all of your years of fruit growing, you must have some sort of classic tried and true favourites.
Without question, Mel, there are fruit trees on the market that are, the old varieties are still the best varieties for the home garden. This one in front of us is a classic example. It's the Moore Park apricot, and it's been around for 100 years. And it's still by far and above the best on the marketplace.
Yeah, I remember this from my childhood. And what about apples?
Well, Golden Delicious apple. Now, look, Golden Delicious is a great apple. You buy from the shop, they're beautiful. You should try picking one straight off your own tree. They are stupendous. You won't even recognise them as being the same as you buy from the shop. They're that good. They are phenomenal. And my favourite of the pears is Bury Boss. Now, pear breeding and pear development has really been slow over the decades. And this old variety that I think is even older than Moore Park is still the best eating pear on the market. It's long, it's an ugly shape, it's russeted.
But it tastes good.
It's phenomenal. Well, Mel, there's some of the real classic fruit varieties.
Beautiful. Well, there's some wonderful choices for your garden. And of course, if you've got any questions for Wes, just log on to the Facebook page and we'll see you next time.
Not all climbing roses need a trellis or lattice to grow on. In fact, pillar roses are designed to grow on a single post, and this Red Pierre is doing a magnificent job of that. Just don't forget, keep the ties loose but not too tight. More great tips after the break.
Fleming's nurseries have been growing trees for close to 100 years and have captured all of that knowledge in this book right here. It's Fleming's Fruit and Ornamental Tree Guide, and it is the tree Bible. So inside is basically everything that you need to know to grow some of the best trees that have come out of Australia and the world. You need it on your gardening bookshelf, so make sure you get to the Garden Guru's website. It's just $29.95 plus postage and handling. If you want to make light work of trimming hedges, then you need to get your hands on one of these. It's Ryobi's 18-volt articulating hedge trimmer. So what does all that mean? Hedges come in all different shapes and sizes, so this is a really nifty design. It's got a rotating rear handle and articulating head, so you can use it in 24 different holding positions, which means there's no need to manoeuvre yourself into tricky positions to get the job done. The trimmer does it all for you. It's got a 500mm dual action blade and 16mm cutting capacity. In simple terms, that means it can power its way through quite sizable stems. So you can use it on anything from newly established plants to one of those big old hedges. Now, because it's lightweight and battery powered, it's super easy